Okay. Can you in the chat? Oh, good. I was about to ask if you can hear me, but you're on it. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to this galactic evening. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. I see that I know most of you, but for those that I don't, my name is Caroline Paget, and I work as a shamanic priestess and seer and energy medicine practitioner and teacher, and have been engaging with connecting to different beings, star beings, ascended masters, and also doing a lot of sound channeling, sound healing as well. And so tonight, what got inspired by this was as I said in my newsletter, I recently lost my father a couple months ago, and it's been a really dark place and a lot of loss and grief and really a heaviness that I was surprised about, to be honest. I've had many different deaths and loss in my life, and I love my father, and we had a beautiful conversations. He's a soulmate of mine about his transition, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I can feel him, speak to him. I have capability of really connected into the spirit realms. Does not matter. It's feels so deeply like a yank up from the energetic support system that I've just known my whole life. So how this got inspired is I've just needed some help to remember not to negate or try to spiritual bypass the depth and the profound nature of grief and being in the darkness and being in the place where the great mystery, where you don't know when it's going to end. And I've been guided very clearly, and I feel really blessed to have the allies and have the practices that I could lean into that I've been practicing for many, many, many years. And so, in a meditation recently, this came through to remember that, especially like when we have trauma and we have whether that's a big trauma or a big loss, or if it's the everyday stresses that then get locked into a pattern, and how that shows up in the it shows up in the brain. And so in this really beautiful deep meditation, the remembering to connect to the higher frequencies within the brain, within the nervous system, specifically the back of the brain, the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, getting the places that get triggered and we get stuck in trauma brain, or in the depression, and how to run that through. And then the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is the longest nerve of the body, and it always acts as on a spiritual level, an energetic level of how to, it's a way, a medium, and for the higher frequencies to come into the body. And so when we have those big aha moments or spiritual awakening, the vagus nerve is really active. The vagus nerve is also really key in the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we find that we are really tight and we can't let go among the initiations that we go through, like especially this time period on the planet, and I speak and work with people all over the world, it is like one initiation after another, one like, okay, can we catch a breath? Right? It's just like one wave after another. And what can happen is that because we're not getting as many breaks in between our initiations and growth periods, then we aren't able to relax in a way. And so I'm finding that really also opening up and making sure that the vagus nerve is opening is a way that and supportive is a way that the energy can come into the body, and the parasympathetic nervous system can relax. So the sympathetic nervous system is that fight or flight, and especially in the Western culture, and if you are in the US, that's a lot of what our culture is just driven on. And we slink down, and then more coffee and this is like adrenaline. So and that's the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is when we go into deep meditations, when we are just got a massage, like the times that we're just having tea and talking with a really old friend, and it's just those moments and those nights that just like feel like it was just balm for not only your soul but for your nervous system. So that's the parasympathetic nervous system in play. So in this meditation that I was in, I was really shown how um, I've been in this like holding pattern, and a lot of us get in this holding pattern, and so was shown remembering, I've done a lot of this protocol before, but remembering how to link the nervous system, the parts of the brain, up with the higher frequencies, whether that is your divine self, your higher self. Specifically, I was working with Isis and the Sirian Star System through this. So this is what we're going to be doing. And so there's, and it's a little bit different sensation of when you take a shamanic journey and you go and you connect with the star family or the star beings, and you have beautiful dialogue and you get insight and you have experiences. This is a very in the body embodiment piece, so it feels a little bit different. So especially if you're used to having visuals and you don't forget about that. That's totally fine and okay, and not surprising. So, and one more thing about that too is in any of these, especially when we're talking about high abstract concepts, high vibrational beings. I had a couple people on the Facebook group be like, do people fall for this shit, or are you kidding me, and all this kind of stuff. And really it's just like, well, clearly you're not my people, because I hang out in this world a lot, which is fine. You can feel however you want. But what I really get excited about is having people have that experience in their body, because this isn't about ascension. And those who've worked with me know that I'm pretty borderline obsessed with the embodiment piece and about sovereignty. So it's not about ascension where we give our power away even to the ascended masters or to these different journeys, and we just travel up and we have all these experiences, but we don't know how to integrate into the 3D, into our bodies in the embodiment of life. So my take on that is that whether it's this kind of thing or something else, and clearly you're here, so you're not on the like extreme of WTF, I don't want to do that. But if you're like, oh, this seems a little hoaxy, or when it's when it feels really big. Do you know what I mean? Like when it feels so abstract and vague, and it's just these guides somewhere. That's where we want to pause and see, like, okay, how do we feel the energies in our system, whether it's in our physical body or in the layers of our energy field, because you are your own teacher, and you are your own, like, your life is the experiment that you are engaging in. I have my own story and my own journey, and I work with guides and star beings all the time, and that's my journey. So how I really like to approach this is for people never to just like take my word for it, or if you go to a healer or teacher, they can say the whatever things, but if you're not feeling it, it can feel disempowering, because then you have to lean on and be like, okay, is that true? Is that not true? Truth, wisdom comes from the body. We can have knowledge and we can have an experience, but when it really becomes our own, it's through our lived sensations. So that's how I like to approach even the higher frequency journeys, the upper realms, when we engage with the light beings, is still from a very embodied place. So, that all being said, it's really great to have you all here. I hope you enjoy this experience and that you find it helpful in your own life and how to connect in a way that helps us integrate, especially when we're just in a loop in a mind loop and an emotional loop, it can be really helpful to pop out and get a bird's eye view, which means also asking for help and letting the help of these incredible ancient beings and civilizations that we can commune with and have experiences with. You know, they're all rooting for us. They all know that, like, holy moly, Earth School is like way intense and is getting more and more intense. So we have a huge support system that we can lean into at any point. If you are driving, I would not recommend listening right now. I just tuned in. If you are in a place where some of these you can listen to and be doing other things, this is one that you want to be able to stop. And especially if you're driving, in case you get into an altered state, you want to be grounded in your body. So if you haven't already, finding a comfortable seated position, closing the eyes, and tuning into the breath. And noticing what you notice, where the breath lands in this moment. Calling yourself to this moment. Letting the breath court your spirit to be present. Arriving even deeper, relaxing into this moment, letting the presence start to expand. Let there be spaciousness. And placing the awareness on the root center, the root chakra, the base of the spine. We're going to climb up the cosmic ladder of our own energy anatomy from the first to the second. The sacral center, the womb center, the reproductive organs. Then up into the third center, the solar plexus, our place of fire. It's how we digest life, the seat of emotions. Then up from the solar plexus to the heart center. Taking an extra moment here into the sacred heart. And moving up into the throat center, communication, listening, expression. Then up into the third eye, the place between the eyebrows, the ajna center, place of vision and insight. Then up into the crown center on the top of the head. Unfurl, unfurl, unfurl. Our place of knowing and connection to our own divine nature, trust. Then up a foot above the head to the soul light, the eighth chakra, the ba. Letting the petals of the soul unfurl as well, bringing in more light. And connecting our awareness all the way to the heart of the divine. Letting this energy open up, coming through our chakra system, the energetic blueprint. Just bathing the subtle energy field with this divine light. As well as coming into the body, into the brain centers, or just prepping to receive a really high frequency. Down into the body, lighting up the organs, the cells, deep into the belly, the back body, all the way to your fingernails and your toenails. Receiving this bath from the divine. And relaxing, 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 relaxing into the light. There's nothing you have to do. Just get to receive. Now we're going to place our awareness back on the soul light, a foot above the head, the ba, the 8th chakra. And from here, we're going to get a little more specific. So instead of asking our awareness, our presence to link in with the divine, we're going to ask to link in with the Sirian Star System, letting your awareness travel up and up and up, trusting that your soul, your spirit knows exactly where to go. There's a lighthouse, so to speak, right into the Sirian Star System. Traveling up, linking a little bit deeper. So if there's the mind that's like, I have no idea what that means, trusting in the process. And notice what you notice. So tuning in, leaning into this star nation, the Sirian Star Nation. Notice how it feels different than linking straight into the heart of the divine. Perhaps there's a being that meets you at the gate of this star system. Perhaps not. Just notice what you notice. And because this isn't necessarily a journey, that will be another night. We're just tuning in. We just wanted to turn the radio station to that high frequency. So coming back to the 8th center, a foot above your head. That is now, though, connected to the Sirian star system. Isis is coming in to support. So the petals of the soul. So up into the eighth center, there's petals of the soul, and just allowing this high frequencies. They're coming in some Sirian. They call themselves high nurse surgeons. So if it feels true, just allowing them to do some of the work. There's nothing you have to do. We're just opening to receive at the eighth center in the soul light. Feeling the Sirian energy come into the soul light. Specifically, there's some like psychic surgery, just peeling off in a really gentle way, but with the presence, with their energy, almost like some like gray fuzz up in the soul light, the eighth center. And from the soul light, we're going to bring our awareness down into the crown, the top of the head. And from the crown, down straight deep into the brain. So where the pineal and pituitary meet, it's right in the middle of the brain. And right in the center, the pineal and the pituitary. You don't have to worry if you don't know what those glands look like. Just have your awareness in the center of the head. We're going to open up the very center of those two master glands. And let in the light of the star nations coming in. It's already flowing in. You can feel it coming into the body, into the brain. Oh, and then it's making a direct line back to your occiput. So there's a line going from the center of your head to the occiput, almost like a triangle, the pituitary, pineal, occiput, pituitary, pineal, occiput. Some purple light coming in with that. Feeling that connection also still established to the crown, coming in. There might be some Sirians that are communicating with some of you, just allowing the interaction to be there. I'm relaxing into the brain, into the center of head. If the mind wanders, just bring it back to the center of head. Then from the occiput, we're inviting in this energy to go down into the vagus nerve. So from the back, the pons, the brain stem, goes down the body, ending deep in the belly. The purple light is becoming now more blue. Just letting the field, your body, your nervous system, and your brain soak up this energy. There's going to be some surgery happening with some of you. These beings come in and help to, it's like washing off some of the plaque I'm seeing, especially to going back up to the cerebellum. I'm just going to name some things that are clearing right now. So the cerebellum, again, you don't have to know the structure of the brain. It's just going to happen as we name it. The cerebellum, the frontal lobe, specifically the right side, the right lobe. The brain, yep. All the while, this like deep pool in the center of the brain, where also the amygdala, hippocampus, the cerebrum. This tuning in, letting there just another vibration up of light that wants to come in during these last few minutes. So if you feel like it's already, your brain is soaking up this energy like a sponge, you can ask and receive this even a higher. They're almost like turning up the vibration, linking also to that star system. They're just really with like such deep compassion, helping to free up some of the residue. Just happens with being human, with our traumas, with our emotions. And notice the vagus nerve lighting up. It might be calming down. There may be places within the body, within the nervous system, that is really ready and wanting this energy even more. So allowing the energy to go where it needs to go. And dropping all intentions. Resting back in this flow of this specific star energy that's coming in. And just receive, receive. Some energy might be staying more present in the brain. For some, I'm seeing that it's really useful down into the belly. Just feeling it in your body. Letting the flow. start to taper off. And the Sirian star beings that have joined us and helped us, thanking them as they start to recede back into the star, their star home. And the connection from the soul light to the star system starts to fade. And so then placing the awareness on the soul light, reconnecting with your own divinity, your own connection to your own light. So from the 8th center up into your 9th chakra, above the 8th, from your 9th chakra up into the 10th, from the 10th chakra up into the 11th to the 12th, the monad. From there, just right into the heart of the divine, your own connection. So you just have clarity. And for those that actually feel like they're still staying with the star beings, that's totally fine. Just make sure by the end there's a receding and then like a closure of energy. You can always tap back in, but we want to come back into just our sovereign space, connected to the light of the divine. That is our highest expression of it in our own bodies. And so just notice what you notice. What does the space around you feel like? What does your brain feel like? Do you feel half cooked? Do you feel like you need to go back and engage some more? Is that enough for now? Just getting curious. So, as always, you can feel free to keep your eyes closed, um, to stay inward and keep the process going if that feels true for you. Um, there's a lot going on there. So if you felt connected and called to work with a Syrian being, the pathways are there. And even if you've worked with them before, to reestablish and really getting specific. And if there's parts of the brain that lit up and you're just curious, I'm a very visual person, so I like to really see the anatomy and figure that out and then feel it. So you can look up a place of the brain. Or if you know, like, oh, I know my memory could use some help, but I don't know exactly which part of the brain operates memory. You could go that route or just ask for it to fill up where it needs to be. I don't know if you can feel it's definitely a high um, splash of high vibrational light. Like things get really luminous. Like even looking around my room, it's like, oh, everything's gotten, a splash of pretty high frequency. So there's a clarity that comes in with working with the Syrians. Um, oh, good. That was amazing. Oh, good. I'm glad it landed for you. And oh, this is interesting. So this is my cat, Abby, who's an Egyptian cat priestess, and which is connected with the Syrians. So go back and listen, and you can pause if it helps and really like work it. I know we have such a short time on these. So you can really let it soak in and feel like where the energy could be useful. You can also work with this with the heart, especially if there's been a lot of heart loss, and get curious, and then I always think it's a good idea to know who we're working with more. So if you are not familiar with the Sirian star system, to get to know them. So feeling into these beings that are profound allies and beautiful beings that help us here on the earth realm. And speaking of transformation and transmutation, is that there is a violet flame course and sound transmission that is now available, or will be available by tomorrow on my website, I think, or it's available. You can sign up for it. It's a deeper dive than what I've done before with the violet flame. So it's going into the violet flame, how to work with it, what is it, who governs it, and different ways. There'll be 3 different transmissions that working with the violet flame, the violet ray within the body, working with the violet flame in clearing space, and then also working with the violet flame in helping if, let's say, you are working with a project or something in your business, there's a consciousness that you're engaged with, that it helps to working with the violet flame to help clear out the karmic debris that might be keeping it from really landing in the 3D realm. So that is going to be available, and thank you all for being here. I'd love if you've had any experiences, I'd love for you to share them on the Facebook page. Yeah, so thank you for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you another time. Okay, be well.